2, 1. I'm very excited, and it doesn't take much, I know. But who we've got in today, Kate Child, and I am her LinkedIn post, just the bio gets me excited. So I'm Gary Kasulu. You've just tuned into the Optician show. This is Kate Child. Kate, welcome.
Thank you for inviting me.
You know I've got a rule. I only invite the most exceptional people.
Okay, I'll take that.
And if you watch this until the end, we're hoping that you will learn more about customer service, about lenses, about how Kate has built something quite remarkable. And I once got a goodie bag from her. She's got it. She's got it. We're going to talk about lenses
that.
too.
I remember sending you that. Brilliant.
So where do we start? Do we start at the beginning? Do we start with your LinkedIn profile? What it says?
Yeah,
it says
why not?
Optimum Lenses, outstanding vision, exceptional customer service. I think all your customers would say. Commercial director, empowering teams for exceptional customer service experience and loyalty.
Bold statement.
You stay here if you're listening, and we're going to get to find out all about Kate. So should we start at the beginning? How did you get into optics?
So I don't come from an optic background. I've met lots of people in this industry who've been in it, 30, 35 years. I suppose fell into it really. I worked locally. After the dreaded COVID, I decided I wanted to do something different. I came from a background of data erasure for technology, to make it to simplify it, and an opportunity came up at Optimum. Somebody said, "Oh, I think it's that place that makes glasses." I was like, "Okay," and I went along, and I never realised how much. I mean, I've always worn glasses, but I was blown away with actually what goes into it, how big the industry is, the passion that people in the industry have. And I suppose, like anybody that gets into optics, you then absolutely love it, and then you kind of not stuck, because it's nice to be stuck, but there's just a big world out there, isn't there, that you have no idea. You pick your glasses up from an optician's, and that's it.
It's a
and
small
you've no
industry.
idea.
Everyone knows each other. Even globally, our partners in Canada and America, they kind of know who we are. We kind of know who they are. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It is cool.
It's fashion and healthcare. There's nothing quite like it ever. And
I think right with that, I never realised the fashion bit. That never dawned on me at all. And obviously now it does, because it was always, you need to correct your eyesight, you go and get some glasses, and you didn't really think about what frames you were buying. Or, I mean, now there's so many stylists and boutique opticians and that kind of stuff. And yeah, I think the fashion, I think you've nailed it there, actually. The fashion and the healthcare is where else do you get that?
Nowhere at all. And then like the lens part of it is really important. If you've got high index lenses in there, making them look lovely, a coating, a tint, a transition, whatever it happens to be. And that partners really well with a really nice frame. Now, sometimes you get a job that looks terrible. It's been glazed badly, it's been badly advised. So hopefully we can go down that route. But I still want to know a little bit more about you. You've added something to Optimum. I've seen since you've arrived, so I watch people from afar. You've definitely added something. And I think that whatever you've learned elsewhere, you've put it in this bit. So can we go back a bit? What's your history? What have you been doing up until then, and then what you started implementing?
So I worked for a newspaper for many years. I sold advertising. I worked in the marketing department for many years. How do you get more people to buy a newspaper? How do you get more people to read it? That kind of stuff. And then I worked for basically a company that took back electronic devices with data on. So if we go way back, to when people had Nokias, I think the most that data you had was maybe your snake score, something like that. Lucky, so when I started working for that company, it was when Blackberries were coming out. So again, nothing to do with optics, nothing to do with manufacturing. But I suppose at heart, wherever I've worked, the customer's really important. And knowing who the customer is, and knowing everybody's different, not everybody wants to buy the same thing. And wherever I've worked, I think there's been bespoke products for different customers, and I suppose that's the same for Optimum. So when I joined Optimum, I think the social media side is probably something that I have brought, because the social media was
No
a
lab
bit
gets
kind
it
of
right.
a
Not
bit
Essilor,
samey and a bit
not
boring. Dare I
Rodenstock,
say?
Hoya, Nikon, all the big boys get it wrong.
Yeah.
They're trying to sell to you. They don't get it. Like, I feel like I know you. I've never met you
Mm-hmm.
properly, but I know you because
Mm.
I watch your posts. I think
Yeah.
you get it just right on LinkedIn. I really think the theme of that. And then most of the audience that listen in, they like, we say, the Optician Show for marketing and clinical stuff. So it's really interesting. A lot of them struggle with their social media.
Mm.
You see
Yeah.
it a lot. Like, what advice would you give about that social media? Because I'm not just saying this. I think you get it just right. You're
Oh,
in the top 1%.
thank you. I think, do you know what I think is a benefit? Weirdly, I don't know much about optics and lenses when I started, so I couldn't talk about lenses and prisms, and I couldn't talk about any of that because I didn't understand it. So maybe me just being, hey, this is Sally and she works at Optimum and she she likes chicken sandwiches for a dinner, and people like that kind of thing. They want to see. I felt we needed a personality behind Optimum. I felt that, don't kind of filter your photo. Just take a picture of yourself walking to work, in a bobble hat in November. People kind of want that kind of rawness, I think, and they can relate to you, I think. And I feel that at Optimum, we want to have partnerships with people. We don't want to just be a transactional lab with kind of no face. So one of the things I think I tried to implement was to get as many of our team on social media. Hey, this is Jack.
We look after a lot of opticians up and down the country, and
Yeah.
it always shocks the owner that the About Us page is the most
Yeah.
viewed. Like,
Yeah.
of course it is.
People are nosy.
People want to know who they're coming to see. Like, of course it is. They care about the glaucoma page that no bugger goes in and sees. Like, truly.
See, I couldn't talk about that because I don't have that.
They spend 6 weeks designing a dry eye page, and then literally one person a month sees it, but yet hundreds look at the About Us page.
Yeah. And I think that's what we tried to do. And I think maybe what I felt was maybe a limitation for me, because I didn't have a history of optics, maybe weirdly worked out because I did just post normal things.
I think you've made a difference. You've created a brand, and I know that Norvilles are not in your way anymore. I'd go as far as to say you're probably one of the best independent labs out there for independence.
Yeah, absolutely. We're very proud of being independent, and we're very proud that we work with independents. And again, we can tailor, we never say no. We get a lot of phone calls saying, we've got a patient, do you think you can do this? We push our machinery to the absolutely. Our machines do things they just are not designed to do, but we never say no. We always try and find a solution. And I think by giving Optimum a bit of a personality and showing the people that work there, and, we have, I don't know, we might have a bake sale and we might post that. But at the time, that's all I could post, because I couldn't post anything about a lens because I didn't really know anything about a lens. And maybe that's what's happened. It was just the rawness of it. And we didn't have a marketing company. We did originally, but again, they would post things that they didn't really understand, and maybe they'd start posting about, I don't know, National Eye Day, and then you think, oh no, don't post about that. That's not going to work. And when you see the impressions on your kind of analytics and the things with people's faces on, and the things about, one of my colleagues posted a photo the other week about some new boots that she'd bought, and she linked it to customer care and service. The impressions for that went absolutely through the roof. And then you post something very serious and nobody's interested. It's really odd.
You sit on the train, you sit in a restaurant, you see everyone's on their phone. They're entertained. Yeah. It's actually, I think, it's a highly addictive thing, the phone.
Yeah, it is.
And you get hooked. You end up doom scrolling, rolling around. And it's the thing that stops you, has a little bit of human to it.
Yeah, I think that. And
AI is on the way down, I think.
Yeah. People are getting wise to that, you see, aren't they? And they like, what's Sally having for a dinner? There's a lady that one of my friends follows on TikTok, and it's just somebody dishing up what she has for a tea. But she's got hundreds of thousands of followers.
I'm a sucker for like a cat or a dog eating its dinner, and I'm a sucker for that.
Brilliant. But it's normal human. You don't have to have your hair done. Just take your picture at your desk, and people are interested, aren't they? And I think maybe that's what we've done. And I like the fact that you've mentioned our social media, because we've had loads of people mention it, and we get, it sounds really weird this, but we get recognised. You know, we went to 100% a few weeks ago, and people were kind of like, I know you. And I was thinking, I don't know who you are. But that's lovely because that's an intro.
And it's like they're your best mate.
It is.
I'm sorry if I've ever done that to anyone out there.
No, but you do feel, you know, people on social media. And I said to Raina, who's our sales manager, who you will have equally seen on social media, I said to Raina, you know, you need to go places and people know who you are. And that's what we need to do. This is about 12, 18 months ago when I was talking about social media. You need to walk into an optician's that you've never been in, and the lady says, you're from Optimum. And Raina rang me a while ago and said, do you remember that conversation we had? I've just walked in somewhere, and the lady on reception said, you're the lady from Optimum. I've seen you on social media. And I thought, that's what we're trying to do. That is what we're trying to do.
You're full of life. You're so charismatic. You're bubbly, and you're everything I expected and more.
Aww.
So I'm really pleased that you said yes to this interview. Again, if the audience might not realize it, but you get to see really great opticians and the worst ones.
Yeah.
And you think, well, how can the lab see that? Well, the lab know if you're glazing things badly. So on a Supra -1, and you haven't put a high index in it, it's guaranteed going to chip.
Yeah.
100%. If you put in a rimless pair of glasses and a 1.5, it's going to break. You can see what opticians are selling all the premium stuff, and it's a trend. Like, they get used to selling the expensive stuff. Yeah. And there's other opticians that are just right at the bottom of the pile when it comes to the cheap. They will just go the cheapest and then attract the cheapest.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
It's the way
they're so different, aren't they? They're so different.
And then there's some that are in between. Have you got advice for opticians out there that are like stuck? They're stuck in a rut. They can't seem to even get a hard coat on an NHS, and they're like, "Oh my God!" You're very intelligent and you're analytical. That comes across. Have you started to put that kind of data together? Because you guys do training as well, which is
do. I'm so glad you mentioned that. It's odd that, because we were talking. I was literally talking to you about that this morning. So we do a lot of training, and we don't do. It's not like a package, you know. It's not like the same slides and you take it to everybody.
I can tell it's fun. I can tell from the outside in. It looks good.
And it's about you know, increasing their margins, and it's about how do we make you different from other people on the high street. And really, I think it's about people being a bit braver. So, you know, tints is something that years ago, celebrities wore tints, you know, and if you wore a tint, your friends would be like, what you wear, you know, they think you were in fancy dress or something, wouldn't they? Whereas now, there's so many patients that are asking for tints. We get phone calls all the time saying, I've had this patient in.
Unfortunately, you know, I don't know your portfolio. You're doing transitions with a base tint.
Yeah, we can tint transitions. We've got, obviously, fashion tints, whatever colour you want. We match anything. So more recently, I don't know if you saw it on one of our posts, but somebody sent us a picture of a perfume bottle, and it was kind of a pinky, purpley kind of grad. And they said, can you do a tint that's that colour? And we matched it. You know, we've matched to, all sorts of things. People have taken a picture of something they've seen on holiday and said, can you match that? And we can match tints. We do therapeutic tints. So they're really popular now, I think, because patients can now Google, you know, if they're getting a headache at work, they will Google it. So they sometimes know more, not more than the optician, but they'll go into an optician's and say, one of the things they get asked now is, can I have the Simon Cowell tint? That's quite popular. So we get rung up saying, can we have the Simon Cowell tint? But that's
the migraine tints, they actually work. If you've never tried them, and the person's boss will love you because they stop phoning in sick all the time. Like, it's a good thing.
No, they do.
How much is the price of that one?
And do you know what? I'm not sure off the top of my head.
It's not like madly expensive.
It's not.
We're not talking three numbers.
It's not out of people's reach. It's not. Yeah, it's for everybody, and I think
it's not a bad price.
It's not, and I think, you know, I found over the years when I've worn glasses for a long time, and I used to wear contact lenses because I didn't like glasses, because I just got a pair of rubbish glasses. And I didn't like it. You know, you'd wear them at night with your pajamas on, but other than that, I wouldn't leave the house in them. But when I joined Optimum, I was like, what, you can have all this? But when you go to an optician's, and this isn't everybody, but this is my own experience. Nobody asked me what I did for a living. Nobody asked me, if I drove, why are we only selling one pair? Ask people what they do. Ask the people if they, what do they dress like on a Saturday? Maybe they want a funkier pair. I never got, my personal experience is, I never got offered any of that. I don't even think I had a coating on my glasses for years, but I didn't know it existed. And then when I joined Optimum, I've got more glasses now, I think, than I've got shoes. Oh, wow. But that's why not?
And this is what I worry about, what we leave on the table. Like that second pair, if you're reading with a varifocal above your head in bed, like a spare pair of reading glasses.
Yeah.
A pair of sunglasses with your prescription.
Oh, I got some prescription sunglasses a couple of years ago. The first summer, actually. I started Optimum in November, and it was the first summer. I can't even tell you. They were life-changing, honestly. Yeah. And I think that's the thing. I think, we offer training sometimes, and we do talk about, second pairs, and don't be frightened of offering it, because I think sometimes we can be a bit judgy on affordability of people when you meet somebody. And I think sometimes you can be wrong on that, and people want to tell me about prescription sunglasses.
You can't tell who's got money. You cannot tell. If they've got a flash car, sometimes they're skint because they're paying 80% of their wages on that flash car.
It's true.
You can't tell by the shoes they wear, because people with money tend not to spend money. I know people that are very affluent, and you look at their watch and it's from Argos, and you're like, you can't tell. And it's wrong of us to do that. What you've got IQ and EQ. And I think in opticians, we hire people that aren't people focused. Mm-hmm. And it's a people job.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got to be able to pick up the phone with a smile. People know that if you pick up the phone, I've called your place a few times. Mm-hmm. Every single time someone's smiling. Mm-hmm. Today I had to call an opticians or two. Either they didn't pick up the phone, or when they did, they sounded rushed, they sounded stressed, they sounded like they didn't want to talk to me.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Yeah, and
the big chains are getting really good at this. They're actually better than the independents on this.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it is about other options, and when we do bespoke training, we do it round either teaching the team how to dispense our lenses, because obviously we have our own portfolio of progressives, occupational, that kind of stuff.
Tell us about that. Like, here's your chance. So
we have
what's the difference? You got freeform, you got
comprehensive kind of range of freeform, progressive, occupational, lifestyle, and sometimes we're competing against the big brands, and I think sometimes independents are like, well, how do I sell that against a branded lens?
It's our own brand, in-house lens, and you haven't had to pay for the research and development. That's why it's simple. It was simple for me. Here's our house lens, and I've worn this one.
Yes.
Here's the one that's 5 times more, and I've worn this one.
Yeah.
And the difference is, truthfully, you might have to move your head more, and in the first 2 weeks, it might take you a little bit of getting used to.
Yeah.
House lens. Now, the money they've saved, they can spend on a second pair.
Exactly. And we incorporate that in our training. It might be about the way it's put across, and it's not always about upselling. It's about tell a customer about some sunglasses. What's the worst they're going to say? No. I went on holiday recently, Gary, and there was a lady sat around the pool. She had a pair of glasses on her head, she had a pair of glasses on her face, and she had her sunglasses over the top. And I said to my husband, look at that woman over there. And he said, stop looking at people's glasses. I said, she's got 3 pairs on, but none of them were working. But that's, maybe she wanted some sunglasses, but nobody told her.
She did. That's so frustrating. Kate, would you consider doing this? And maybe you already do, but you see Seiko, right? If you buy a second pair, you get it for half price.
Yeah.
Now, if you buy it within a certain time, on collection, this would be my favourite thing. Someone comes in for collect, they've got their new pair, and I say I would re-lens that one for half price every time. What would Optimum do that on a second pair of house lenses?
Yeah, well, we're always open to any kind of promotions that people want.
I think that's where the big boys get you. They do really cool offers. So they might go in the summer months, 1 month free transition, and then you're losing that work.
Yeah. I mean, we always say, come and ask us, come talk to us. We're independent. It's not a case of, oh, we no, it's kind of like, well, what do you want to offer? What kind of demographic of patient have you got? What do you want to offer a second pair of sunglasses or a second? What do you want to do? And we'll always work with people. We don't kind of have, this is promotion A and it fits you or it doesn't fit you. We do lots of bespoke things for, lots of different people. And we want people to ring us up and say, we really want to run a promotion. Will you help us?
Oh, if I was an
Yeah.
optician listening to this, I'd be like, what the hell's this lady's number? Because
Oh,
you want a lab like that. Norville's went under because they just relied on one or two things that you'd order twice a year. This is a
yeah.
lab that you can rely on. And I'm not getting paid for this, by the way. If you're looking at anything, Gary's really biased today. I am really not biased. I connected with you, Kate, because I've seen your exceptional, the little goodie bag you get when you sign up. I can see you're honest. Your clients are really, really happy.
Yeah.
And that's why we had you on here today. Can you give us any more insights on some of the training you do?
Yes, so we've got lots. Well, again, it's not kind of an off the shelf thing. We do lots of different training. We can train all of the staff on dispensing certain lenses. We can. Raina recently went to somewhere and it was about second pairs and how to introduce second pairs. And I know following that, I think there was about a 23% increase in their margins just ask everybody about a second pair or just talk to everybody, see what happens. And I think, we come in and we help you with that. And we also do lab tours. So you can come to the lab, you can bring all your team. We're based in the seaside town of Morecambe.
Lovely.
And we really encourage people to come around the lab because I think sometimes they might not have been around a lab since they started in optics. And maybe some people in the practice have never been around a lab. We want you to come around the lab. There is CPD points available if needed. But again, that's not, you don't have to.
Very impressive. No, very good.
And we also, we've got a boardroom that sometimes companies use to have maybe just a team meeting that perhaps they don't have a chance to do in practice. They've took the afternoon out. We provide lunch and come and have a look round. And
I love that.
I think it really helps our tints, for instance, we once had a customer that used to order a lot of tints and she'd quite often say, they always take ages from you. Ages is a bit of a sweeping statement, I always think, but maybe a couple of days longer. When she came round the lab, she didn't know that we actually did it all by hand. She thought they were just on the shelf and you could pick a red one off, and that, exactly. All the tanks and you might want it a shade deeper. You might want to pick that green, but you want it a little bit lighter. And it's all done by hand. And the head of our tint department is an ex-printer. So he understands colour because maybe to get a purple, maybe there's a bit of brown in it and so people don't realise.
I always worry about like the Essilors that say, if it scratches, we'll change it for you free. That's a great offer, right? Like their coatings are good. You worry about an independent lab because some of these machines cost £500,000. Is your coating as good as any Rodenstock or Nikon or? It's
absolutely,
a tricky one, right?
Absolutely. I mean, our premium coating is called Optical Plus, and I wear that. And I think I said before, Gary, I've never had a coating on my glasses. The first time I got it, I put it on. I couldn't believe how well I could see through glasses.
You do. You see 7-8% better, like more lights going through.
Like unbelievable. And even our kind of Optigo, which is obviously for blue light, that kind of stuff. Just life changing sounds really dramatic, but if you sold a good pair of glasses that fits your lifestyle or your occupation, or it makes a big difference, doesn't it? It's huge. Like I had no idea that glasses were so good for all them years. And now, like I say, I've got a pair with all sorts of different coatings on for all different things. And our coatings are exceptional. And again, that's education, isn't it? We like to go into opticians and say, this is for that, that's for that. You can have as many samples as you want. We even do, pairs for our customers because, like you said before, we want them to wear them. If you go into Next, the people who work in Next are wearing Next clothes, aren't they? It's the same thing, and we do encourage our customers to order pairs for themselves.
So, like the receptionist in most opticians, if that person is wearing your lens, you can guarantee they'll sell it off your face.
Absolutely.
And what springs to mind here is I always had great relationship. I've sold all my practices now, but I always had a great relationship with the lab, whether it be Leicester Optical back 30 years ago, or or I like Optical. If you heard that, they went bust because Essilor bought most of these little labs. I love the little labs, and then Essilor comes and gobbles them up and takes them elsewhere. Everyone's got their price. I would still like you as much if Essilor came in and offered you lot 5 million. Who are we to say you shouldn't take it? But
we're employee owned, so that's the difference with us as well. We're an employee owned business, which sets us apart a little bit as well.
I didn't know that until now.
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's massive, and I think that makes a difference because everybody's invested. It's not kind of just a job. People have kind of. Yeah, if you partner with Optimum, you get in a team of people that are employed. In effect, own part of the company, and it helps with staff retention. So obviously that helps with people's skills and knowledge because obviously the longer people stay, the more they know naturally. But especially in optics, there's a lot to learn, and you need about 30 years to know even half of it, don't you? I think so. That helps with staff retention, and people just care a little bit more, I think, because it's not just a job, and they don't leave to go down the road for another, I don't know, £1,000 a year on their salary or something like that. There is a difference, I think.
And you're a nice boss. You can just see the culture of any business. We only interview exceptional people. You can generally tell that they're breeding a culture of niceness. People work harder if they're happy.
Nice. Just be nice.
Just be nice. It doesn't cost much. What are your pet peeves that you look at and you think, well, this drives me mad? Is it like sending it in? I can only guess, right? So I would say sending the glasses and the handwriting's crap. Like you think, what's this about? Or you send the glasses, it's not in a proper case, or I don't know. I'm only guessing that some of the things that slow things down on your end.
I think we're very flexible, and we know our customers send things in weird and wonderful ways. In an ideal world, it would all be beautifully written on an order pad and everything would be filled in. But these people are busy, and we have a great team that will always query something. If they get something and they think, is that a 5 or is that an 8? Or
I tell you, the big chains, if it says -9 on one and +10 on the other, they're going to make it. They don't care.
We would ring
you and say, "Are you sure about this?"
Yeah, we do get some very complex, weird. We're known for the weird and wonderful, and so some of the prescriptions you read, you probably think, is that a mistake? And it probably isn't. But yeah, we will always ring and we will always check. I guess I don't. We're pretty easygoing, really. I think. You do get some weird and wonderful stuff sent in. We sometimes get stuff sent in and it doesn't say where it's from. But that's always great for social media because we always post, has anybody sent us this? And it always gets loads of impressions.
That was one of my very first jobs. I was given a little stamp and I had to stamp all the NHS forms and all the lab slips and hoover up.
Yeah. I think my first job was on a franking machine. You have to be a certain age to know what a franking machine is.
I was in charge of the franking. That was my job too. I just think you're wonderful. And if you're an independent out there and you are in bed with a big chain, just look at it. Just give Kate a call and you see where that could go. I think you've been very generous with your time today. I hope if you've been watching this, you've got a lot out of it. It's interesting to hear the other side. Now, partnerships are important. If you've got a frame rep, that could be your best friend. They'll change it out. They'll swap them. And your lab should be your best friend too.
Yeah.
They're like, absolutely. Oh my God, Kate, I got this thing. Can you get it done? And as long as you don't cry wolf every day, they'll get it done. They'll skip it for you. They'll make things for you. So
we do. And we're flexible enough to be able to do that. Oh, last few words. I think you're right, Gary. I think you've summed it up. If you are an optician out there and you're looking for something a bit different, I think, and we're real people and you can ring up and ask for certain things, like you say, as long as you don't cry wolf. But we appreciate, we've had people going on holiday, we've had people emigrating, we've had a guy who was going sailing around the world and needed a certain pair of sunglasses by a certain date. We're very flexible. We will always try and find a solution for complex prescriptions, and we will always try and do our best.
Can you share like Temu frames, right? You see the kids wearing these Temu frames. They're like a tenner. Yeah. How do you feel about glazing those? Because my wife's got loads of pairs, and there's a few she's got at Temu.
Yeah.
What's your stand on that?
Well, I would say
TK Maxx.
our glazing team are probably like, they will always come back and say, I'm going to glaze this, but it's at the customer's, because they are made of, cheaper plastic. Of course they are. You can tell by, how much they are. But again, we'll always try. We got asked the other week if we could do, it's called a monocle. Have I pronounced that correctly? Is that right? Yeah. And we were like, yeah. And I think one of the guys in glazing was like, I don't think I've glazed one of them for about 30 years. It was like, but yeah, send it in. Again, we never ever say no. We get asked some weird and wonderful stuff, and we'll always say yes. So I would say if you are, if you want to make a switch, or just try us for a couple of products and see what you think. But you won't be disappointed, because Optimum are definitely different, I think, and we're definitely making waves in the industry in a good way, for sure.
I can always tell when the podcast goes by quickly. It's a good one. Like this feels like we just got on 5 minutes ago. It's now 35 minutes ago.
Wow.
Sped past. I hope everyone watching this has got value. If you've enjoyed it, subscribe, tell a friend. I try and keep a lot of variety. I'll speak to someone super clinical, and we'll speak to someone like Kate, who's full of energy and loves her job and really making a difference. So if you want to be on the next show, DM me. Why not? Kate, you've been lovely. This has been.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Sorry?
My first podcast as well. My first ever
Get
podcast.
in there.
There you go.
It won't be your last.
Thank you.
I've super enjoyed this. I hope you've enjoyed this too. It's an insight into an independent lab. Please, even if you're a big chain, Kate's not going to say no. At the end of the day, independent labs have to survive, and let's support them.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
I think they call that a pod. That's a cut. We're done.
Thank you.
Until next
Thanks,
week.
Gary. Thanks very much for your time.